Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions.
Question number 1. Gandhara sculpture owed as much to the Romans as to the Greeks? Explain. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Gandhara sculpture evolved under reign of Kushans and flourished as fusion between Greek and Roman art combined with Indian artistic traditions. The main body of the answer should be Number 1. Indian extensively traded with Romans resulting into influence in sculpture and cultural life. Number 2. Gandhara was a region of cultural crossroads and this art school had close contacts with both Rome and Greece. Number 3. Depiction of human form of Buddha developed in Gandhara from Greek influence and cloth of human sculpture was worn by Romans. Number 4. Elements from classical Roman art like motifs, wine scrolls, cherubs bearing garlands, tritons and centaurs were incorporated in Gandhara school. Number 5. The tradition of representation of Buddha in human form is inspired from Roman anthropomorphic tradition. Number 6. The concept of human form of God is attributed to Greeks. The Buddha's mythological statue can also be related to Greeks. Number 7. Buddha with a youthful face like Apollo, dressed in garments resembling the scenes on Roman imperial statues. Number 8. At the same time, many images of Buddha under Gandhara art is seen under the protection of Greek god. Number 9. Also coins found in Gandhara bear Greek script and Greek divinity. The conclusion of the answer is Greek sculptures are more idealists while Roman sculptures are realistic. The Gandhara sculpture evolved as hybrid of both. Hence, it can be said that both Roman and Greek traditions enrich Gandhara art. Question number 2. The Indian Constitution has provisions for holding joint session of the two houses of the Parliament. Enumerate the occasion when this would normally happen and also the occasion when it cannot, with reasons thereof. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The Parliament of India is bicameral and the makers of Constitution very well anticipated the situations of deadlock between the two houses of Parliament. Therefore, Article 108 of Constitution provides for holding a joint session of Parliament to resolve a deadlock between two houses over a bill. Moving on to the main body of the answer. Number 1. The Constitution empowers the President of India to summon a joint sitting of both the houses for the purpose of deliberation and voting on the bill, unless such a bill has already lapsed due to the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. Number 2. Such a joint sitting is presided over by the Speaker who is assisted by the Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. The joint sitting is governed by the rules of procedures of the Lok Sabha. Number 3. The decisions at such sittings are taken by the majority of the total number of members of both the houses present and voting. Therefore, the Lok Sabha, due to its numerical superiority, may have decisive advantage in this regard. A joint session of Parliament can be summoned in the following situations. Number 1. If a bill has been passed by one house but rejected by the other house. Number 2. If the two houses have finally disagreed on the amendments to be made in the bill. Number 3. If more than 6 months have elapsed from the date of the reception of the bill by the other house. The conclusion of the answer is However, it should be noted that a joint session of Parliament cannot be summoned only in case of an ordinary bill. Constitution do not provide for joint sitting in case of a money bill or a constitution amendment bill. The rationale behind this provision is that since government is largely represented by Lok Sabha and Council of Ministers is responsible to Lok Sabha, they should be given an upper hand in case of money bill to carry out day-to-day administration. Question number 3. What are the reasons for introduction of Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management (FRBM) Act 2003? Discuss critically its salient features and their effectiveness. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. FRBM Bill was introduced in 2000 by Yashwant Sinha and enacted as an act in 2003, with the objective that government becomes responsible, accountable and transparent in its fiscal operations. The main body of the answer is number 1. The target was set up to bring down revenue deficit to zero in 5 years by 2008 to 2009 and fiscal deficit to not more than 3%. However, due to global financial crisis in 2007, the prices of oil and fertilizers shot up. The subsidy bill also shot up and so government had to raise money from market by issuing oil and fertilizer bond. Number 2. The government also issued a fiscal stimulus package to revive the economy and thus further increasing the India's fiscal deficit up to 6.5%. Number 3. Due to such large deficit, India missed its FRBM targets and so, the 13th Finance Commission rewrote the whole plan for fiscal consolidation. In the wake of this, government introduced the concept of effective revenue deficit in FRBM 2013 Amendment Act. The amended FRBM Act 2013 had the following salient features. Number 1. It eliminated review deficit and introduced effective revenue deficit concept in the Act. Number 2. It targeted the bringing down of effective revenue deficit to zero by 2013. Number 3. It targeted bringing down of fiscal deficits to 3% by 2017. Number 4. Effective revenue deficit is equal to revenues deficit grants for creation of capital assets. Thus, concept of effective revenue deficit is nothing but a jugglery to rewrite revenue expenditure as capital expenditure. The FRBM Act can be amended simply by Gazette notification, thus government can easily shift the target further thereby reducing the effectiveness of the Act. The conclusion of the answer is it lacks transparency monitoring and compliance by the government. N.K. Singh Committee has recommended to shift focus from fiscal deficit to outstanding debt and introduction of autonomous body to monitor fiscal situation regularly.